Hello. So this part is going to be about the body. And why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I'm realizing more and more how the body is becoming forgotten when people go on this spiritual path, when they start to do any kind of spiritual work. Some people tend to go like up there and stay up there and forget about this important part of the body, of our physical form. And that is a key element which we have and which we will have. That's why our soul came here down on this earth through and with our body. So it's something we cannot disregard. And it can be such an important and powerful tool to know how to work with the body, to know what the signs of the body mean, to know how to really trust the body. And that can be very, very powerful and transforming because it's part of you. It's like just this density that you have in your system, all your energy becoming so dense that you can see this physical form. So the body can teach you a lot. Any pain that you have can teach you a lot. Any kind of what one would call like a stomach feeling, if something is good or bad, can teach you a lot. Your intuition, really following and trusting the body, relaxing deeply, doing body work, breath work, de-armoring, massages. It can be just a very good way to also help you grow on your spiritual path. And it's just the part of the personality that we sometimes forget and sometimes don't listen to because it's just the body. Emotions and the mind, especially the mind, is just like so much important, so much more important. People would tend to have this opinion, especially with the society telling us how we should work and do that and that and that, and all of that programming being in our head. So about the body, it has basic needs which we just should listen to. We should look at the basic needs of the body regarding food and nutrition, about getting enough movement and sport and just flexibility, strength, and also about getting enough fresh air or sun, those kind of things, or going out in nature. And why is that important? It's important because this body is very much like a sacred container which you live through, which your higher beings live through. And for you to truly be aligned with that, you have to integrate every part of yourself into this huge system. And the body is a part of that. So for example, with food, a lot of people tend to overeat or undereat or stuff themselves full of sweets or eat a lot of junk food or force themselves to become vegan. And all of those things which don't come naturally are just not good for you. Because as you go on the spiritual path, you should actually become able to listen deeply to what your soul is telling you, to look at the signs, to notice, okay, this food is causing me constant stomach aches or bloating. Maybe it's something I shouldn't be eating anymore. Or when I think about eating meat, I actually feel a bit nauseous, but my brain, it tells me we still enjoy meat. And it can be like a little inner fight at the beginning because you still crave junk food, but it's not good. Or you are addicted to sugar, but it's not good. So it's like trying out to find this balance between being consequent with yourself and listening to that voice which is guiding you to the right path, but also not forcing it. So it can be a hard thing to manage, right? And that goes the same for movement, sport, going out in nature, everything. Like just listening to those bodily needs are not not ignoring them or trying to control them in any way can be a beautiful path, because you learn how to connect more and more with yourself. So I will just tell you, like, with the example of myself, how I became vegan. And I thought I would never become vegan. For me, that was like, no, I used to enjoy meat. I used to love cheese, like melted cheese with pizza or with potatoes, like, yeah, cheese. And when working more and more and doing more and more in a work, it kind of naturally happened that I started having dreams that I was followed and hunted when I ate meat. And then I realized, oh, when I don't eat meat anymore, it's not on my conscience. It's not like influencing me. I'm lighter. I feel better. And then I had done this intestine clean. And after that, I suddenly couldn't eat cheese anymore. And it was as if something has just cleaned out through my system. And there were also a lot of emotional processes connected to that. It wasn't just the intestine being cleaned. And I knew already before that I shouldn't be eating cheese, because when I ate cheese, I always ended up being like tired and bloated, and I just wasn't feeling that good. It gave me satisfaction in the moment, but it wasn't really good for my body. But I couldn't put it away, and after that, suddenly the craving was gone. And butter, for example, it was very weird. Like, butter was the thing I could eat. I didn't have any problems with it until at some point, I don't really know why, it just happened. I ate like a little bread with butter, and I suddenly started feeling very sick. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just the kind of butter, maybe it was old or something. But I tried it out with other butters, and it just kept on repeating. And I was like, just my body signaling me, butter is not good for you anymore. And I had the same thing with milk and with eggs already, like, for a very, very long time. So milk I wouldn't drink already since I was like early teens, and eggs I never enjoyed. So there were those kind of things that I noticed early on. That was the first things, actually, egg. And my parents would force me to eat egg because, it's good for you, it's that, everyone eats it. And I'm like, no. I couldn't even, that the smell alone was very bad. And with meat, actually, what happens now is I'm so sensitive to even the smell or anything. Like, my mom cooked something a while back when I was visiting, and she used the spoon to stir the chicken soup and put it away. And then I took the spoon to try something out which was vegan. And then I noticed, oh, it's weird. It's making me feel sick. And then I asked, what did you use the spoon for? And she was like, it's actually for stirring the soup. And I was like, oh, that's not so good. I noticed, okay, it's not because of this vegan food, it's because of the soup. And that was just the sensitivity I have gotten. So you want to look at those little signs and stay mindful, because you don't want to force yourself into things. Because if you force yourself to become vegan in a way that is not aligned with your system, it might do you more bad than good. Because maybe you're just not ready for that. Maybe your body still needs the nutrition that you get from all the other things. So it's all about finding that path and balancing being able to stay true to what you want and taking away those addictions and cravings, but at the same time being mindful of what you are ready to do. And that can be hard to manage. But it comes with practice, and at some point it will be like, oh, I don't need this inner fight anymore. It's just, I'm ready to let it go without even worrying. And that's the part where that's the most beautiful moment, because suddenly those parts are gone, and you are truly ready to make that step, to stop eating sugars, to do more sports and not be so lazy or whatever you think you are. And it's suddenly as if something in your system has just fully shifted, and then okay, there is no inner fight. I'm so relaxed to do this, and this is going to be the new way I live. And I believe, as consciousness grow, it will become natural for us to want to go out into nature, to move around, because we are naturally, we are beings that want to be active, that want to eat healthy, that want to enjoy the sunlight, that just enjoy life. So as the consciousness grow, we will not even think about it. It will just become something normal for us. Something like, going to the toilet, because we have this system which makes us eat food and then digest it and poop something out or pee, and that's normal. We don't even question it. It's just a part of us. And those other things will also just become a part of us, which we just accept for that, what is right, what feels good to us. It's just something, a part of us that has really aligned with ourselves. And that might change with time. So with all of this, it's important to look what kind of personality structure you have. Some people love routines. They love doing the same thing every day, doing this sport routine every day, and it gives them like a good kind of schedule, something to rely on. The body likes routines for some people. And then there are people like me, which are kind of like little chaotic, and on one day they do sport, on another day they do meditation, then they take a walk, and then they do journaling. And then, for me, it's like I don't have a routine that I do every day. I just see what I feel like doing on this day at this moment, what feels right for my body, what do I need right now. Maybe I need movement because something is going on. Maybe I need like a very nutritioning breakfast. Maybe I want to go out and pick some wild plants and eat those, things like that. So be mindful and find something that works for you. It's important in all of this to really see and feel into what is right for me, and not going out to see and let yourself be influenced so much by other people telling you, yes, this diet is that what works, being vegan is the right path, doing yoga is the right path, or doing keto, or not eating carbs, or whatever. Don't listen to all of that. You can try it out and then see what it does to your system, how it feels for you, and try to just feel into what is my inside actually telling me that is right for me, without me feeling into or doing any of those other things. And some people love Anthony Williams, for example, and other people, like, his stuff don't work for them at all. And it's not because he's wrong or right. It's just because for this certain person, it's the perfect path. And for the other, something else might be. So you just have to find that thing that works for you. And you do that by not listening to other people, but just listening to yourself and seeing what is right. And I've said already, like, as we grow, it will become natural to do all of these things. It will be natural to stop eating meat, to stop eating products from animals. And there is this crazy thing that can happen too. And I've had this already, and I also know people who have had this, that as you go higher into this consciousness and expand and become a being with a much higher vibration, you suddenly also have difficulties with even eating plants, because it's suddenly as if you're connected to that, and you might feel the life force, the energy of that plant. And if it's something that has been very processed, even though it's a vegetable, or if it's something which has already been picked a long time ago, then you might even feel this is not something I want to put into my system, because even though it's a vegetable or a fruit or something that seems healthy, it doesn't feel good to my system because the vibration is too low, and I don't want to lessen my vibration. And that can be with anything. So I noticed for me, when that happens, that what works the best is picking out fresh things from the outside. So picking up mushrooms, wild plants, and what do you call those? Like fruit, any kind of berries that are growing in the forest. So things like that. And that would work amazingly for my system. It would give me a lot of nutrition. It felt that the food was alive. And also when I was picking it, I was doing it very consciously. So, like connecting with it and seeing, okay, is it all right for me to pick it right now? And, I don't want to hurt nature in that way. And I was also always going in like this gratitude and thankfulness to all that it's giving me, because Mother Earth is basically, that's why it's called Mother Earth or Gaia, or, the earth has a feminine energy, things like that, because it's there to nutrition us, to help us in any way. And we can learn to rely on it. We can learn to go out there and trust it, that it will feed us, that it will support us. And that process is beautiful, but it might also be weird at the beginning, because suddenly you're like, oh, this vegetable, I don't want to eat it. I feel that it doesn't want to be eaten, whatever. There might be those stuff coming up. And that's okay, that's fine. It's natural. There are even people who go into this breatharian process where they don't need food anymore, where they basically inhale the energy of the sun, the life force of the air. And I haven't tried that out, but I believe it works, because I do certain exercises where I feel the energy it's giving me, and then I need a lot less food than I'm just nutritioned in other ways. And that can look like, for example, there is this practice called breathing like through the pores. So you don't just breathe in through your mouth and nose like this, but you basically imagine yourself opening up every pore that you have in every part of your body. And it might be easier for you to do it naked. And you just imagine yourself being this being that is like allowing the air to move through your whole body, kind of like as if you're translucent, or as if your cells are just open. And then you literally breathe with your whole body and expand with the in-breath in your whole body, and let everything out with the exhale. And just doing this process, it's like a beautiful alchemic process which can heighten up your frequency a lot. And it's just beautiful to feel the body being able to do that. And you can then do the same with the sun, being outside and inhaling like the energies of the earth, the energy of the sunlight, feeling the sunlight go into your skin, nurturing you. It's all about very much focusing about that energy you are keeping in, bringing into your system, and doing all of that consciously. There is a big difference of consciously eating food and just eating or doing this exercise. And it can be a very powerful shift, because you will suddenly just do everything with a different mindset. And that in itself can already be very life-changing, because you're suddenly really noticing your body, and you're not just eating the whole plate that you have, but you're actually feeling in, okay, am I actually hungry? Is it enough what I have eaten? Do I want to actually eat this, or do I do it out of habit because it's on the plate? So you really start to just noticing your body signals, and that's very important, to have this connection with the body, because spiritual work can be so up there, and it can be very beautiful, And it's important to learn how to come back into the body, how to stay grounded, how to stay connected to this physical life. Because even though it might feel that it's all better up there on those higher planes, vibrating higher and being kind of, spacey, however that might feel for you, there are different paths and ways that people feel. But it's important to still have this connection to physical life, to your physical being, because you are here for a reason as this human being. So you want to not forget it and still take care of it and enjoy it, because it's there for you to just live through yourself. So talking about all this, it's important noticing the signals of the body. And why is it important? Because it can actually guide you to your own truth. Your body can show you what is right for you, what is wrong for you. It can show you which situation is good. It can show you what choice to make. It can basically, if you truly learn how to be one with your body, it can become this magical tool, which you can call intuition or body wisdom, but it can basically just show you the way to go. And that's beautiful. And you do that by becoming more and more attuned to yourself and noticing the signals. Like, for example, you can have two choices that you make, and then you can feel into one choice and into the other and see what happens in your body when you are deciding. Or you can do it with people when someone is next to you and notice what your body is doing. Is there something becoming triggered when you're with the other person? Does being with the other person feel good? How is your body reacting? What is it showing you? And it might not be showing you, this other person is bad. It can be showing you that you maybe don't feel safe around the other person. And it is not maybe because the other person makes it that way, but because you still have some programming from the past. And it becomes like aware, your body becomes aware of that programming, of that trauma from the past when it's around the other person. So the body can show you the topics that you can work on. And it can show this to you, especially through any kind of symptoms you might have. So for example, any kind of body pains you might experience, any kind of ache somewhere, some like poking or tension, something suddenly happening in your digestion, or any kind of headache or blocked ears, blocked nose. All of those little symptoms are already big signs for you to listen to. And those symptoms can become bigger symptoms and can become illnesses and things like that when you don't listen to the small ones. So it's important to focus on them. What is going on? Like the closed nose can be a sign that you're fed up with stuff. Or having like a bad skin can be a sign that you don't feel good in your body. And you can always look at, what can I do in a better way? What can I change so that my body is reacting in a positive way, so that I get more beautiful, more healthy, feel better with my whole body, that I just feel good, don't have pain, but just feel alive and open. So you can really like see in which direction your body is showing you to go. And I talk more about the different signs of the body in the part about, I believe, energy work. And there you can like hear more about how it's all connected, because it's all connected to our energy system. But right now we're more, in this physical form, in this physical body. And you want to just learn to listen to all of those different signs, because your body is this container which stores basically your whole experience, your whole life. So for example, you can have your life that you have lived, right? And you had your childhood, where there are many different things happening, where you had your connection to your parents, where you might have had accidents, traumatized, anything basically. Like even a small accident you had as a kid, like a broken arm, or I don't know, rollerblading, and when you suddenly tumbled down, all of those are already signs what you were doing that might not be so optimal for you. And that can come up later. It might come up in that way because, as I said, the body stores it. So there is this beautiful practice called de-armoring, and I repeat it in also other parts because it's just so beautiful. And it talks about how emotions and experiences, traumas get stored in the body. And it is that way because all the other energy layers flow, the energy from the soul, from emotions, from the mind, they flow into the body. And we can either integrate them and transform them, alchemizing them, or we let them come in and we don't do anything about it, so it becomes denser. And that's why we suddenly get pain or something, going not that well with our system. And we can learn to release those things. We can learn to reconnect with our body, reconnect with any accident we might have had, any illness we might have had in the past, any trauma we might have had in the past, anything basically that we have done which was not aligned to ourselves. We can relieve that and really fully go into it through many different practices. And that can be, for example, embodiment. And just embodiment is about basically allowing the body to feel and go fully into whatever it is that you want to embody. So you can embody emotions, you can embody experiences, you can embody memories, traumas, anything, other people. And it can look just like, I'm gonna give you an example. I wanna embody shyness. And then I see what my body does when I really focus on shyness. I feel into shyness. Shyness is all I want to experience right now. And I already notice myself going small and how my body is curling up, and I feel my belly squeezing tightly and constricting, and it feels very tight and very small, like I want to hide and fold into myself. And I'm not enjoying it. It hurts. It feels very constricted. My whole back hurts. Yeah, it just doesn't feel good. It feels like I want to hide away. So I'm gonna let it go. And then, you can stroke it out, let it go. And that's just a way to show you what embodiment can look like. And I feel like I need to shake it out a bit more. Yeah, that's one way to release it, by shaking. And you can try that out with many different things. You can try that out, like I said, with memories to relieve different things. And doing any sort of body work can also help with all of that. Doing breath work, de-armoring, body work with someone who can help you with that process. And, you can also look back at the accidents you have had in the past. I'm going to give you examples about myself. So, for example, I went skiing one year with one of my exes and some friends. And I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not an experienced skier, so I was sticking to this beautiful path that I felt it's amazing. I trust myself to go there. And my ex was okay, I want to go to this other path. Let us try it out. And I was feeling I don't really want to. But I was yeah, okay, let's go. I want to try something out too, I didn't tell it to him, but I was I don't want to, disappoint you. That was the thing around it. And then I had an accident, and it wasn't something that happened that was really my fault. I had a kid lying in front of me, and I went away to avoid running into it. I just turned to the side because the kid had an accident. So I turned the corner, and I had someone go into me in that moment. So we basically, me avoiding this kid ended up in colliding with someone else, and then it happened. And I had a knee accident on this left knee. And it was like with all of those little, what you call them, ligaments and things like that. And the meniscus. And later, years later, I realized this happened because I wasn't true to myself. I wasn't listening to what I actually wanted. I didn't trust myself to speak up enough to just tell I'm not ready to go there. I want to stick to the path I trust. I just don't feel as if I want to go there, you know? You can go on your own, it's fine. But I wanted to belong, you know? I wanted to do something. It was still like in that phase of the partnership where we were just kind of getting to know each other. I don't think we were even together at that point. It was more like in the falling in love phase. And that I was 15 at that point. I was like my first boyfriend. So yeah, that happened with the accident with the knee, and that's just an example to show you how accidents and things can come into your life if you're not listening to yourself. And I had the same pattern repeating again and again with other accidents too, like rollerblading, and then trying something out with my friends that I didn't want to try out, like going down a slopey hill on my rollerblades. And inside of me I was panicking, not wanting to go, but I still went because, you know, peer pressure and wanting to belong, wanting to be liked, things like that. So I went, and then I had my wrist like I don't know the English word, but basically this one bone here was here instead of here. And that happened, and it was basically the same. It was about myself going against me. And you can look back at any accidents you might have had. If you notice any kind of pattern that you had in your life, that you might still have in your life, and look at, okay, how can I change this? And this can be in anything. It can be also in relationships, looking back at your past relationships and seeing, what is the pattern that is repeating itself? Because your body will just basically show you what you have to look at. And that can be through many different ways. It can be through those things like accidents, pains, any body signals, but it can also be through wants, desires, needs, dreams that you have. Like, for example, you might feel your body originally wanting something, craving something. And that craving might seem weird for you. Your brain might not even be able to process it. Like, just an example, I had this craving with salt, and I didn't eat salt for a long time. I wouldn't eat salt at all. I wouldn't cook with salt. I was like, when I ate salt, I didn't feel good afterwards. I had like bloated stomach and everything. And at one point I started craving salt, and I was like, why? This is so weird, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it seems as if my body wants it. And then I did it, and I noticed, oh, it feels so much better, it feels good. And I noticed it was because I put away all of, cheese, all of animal products, and suddenly I needed that more. So it was just, something that my body wanted to fill up on. And it can be the same for you. You might be craving to go like on a holiday, for example, because you actually want relaxation, because your body is showing you are exhausted, you just need rest. Or you might be craving to sleep all the time, also because you are just not resting enough. And it's not about sleeping more, it's about relaxing fully and really, really, really going into that relaxation where you can fully rest. And most of us don't know what that even means, because we are stuck in this loophole of waking up becoming ready to work, working, then having family life, boyfriend, hobbies, whatever, and then going back to sleep and having this every day. And this happens already in the childhood, where you have school, then you have your parents, you have friends, you have, this whole cycle. So then you want to really rest at the night, but your whole system still has to process all of that which is going on in the day. And you might not even be able to go into this deep resting phase in the night. And the night should be about resting fully, integrating your experiences, having rapid eye movements which help you integrate, going into those different phases of sleep. I don't remember what they are called right now. And just fully going into that deep, deep space. And that might not happen for some people because your whole system is so stressed and on alert all the time that it's just not resting properly. And this is like this big cycle of people who also go into burnout and just have too much stress and just too much things in their system. And that might feel good, It might feel good because it feels kind of like excitement. It's hard for the body to distinguish between positive and negative stress. It's just stress. And then it's about what you do with it. So you might have like the same feeling when being so overworked and so under stressed as if you were doing something excited, going on an adventure, jumping out of an airplane, things like that, which you might associate with positive moments, adrenaline, and that adrenaline might feel similar to being so under stressed. And it's all about the nervous system just being very high on alert, as if it's like this current which is running through you all the time. And it might even show like in shakiness or in being just so high on alert all the time. It's like kind of running, as if your system is running on a lot of caffeine without even having coffee, because you don't have those resting phases. You don't have integration. And life should be about this kind of cycle of up and down, being active and being passive, doing stuff and relaxing, and doing this. And some of us do this, being on top all the time, and then suddenly their system cannot handle that anymore, and then they go into that downward space, and then they have to stay there for a while because the system wants to balance those two out. If you don't do this and only go up, then at some point it will drop down. That's why there things like burnout happen, also things like depression, but that's a bit different. When talking about all those things that wire and heighten up their energy system, it usually is connected to any kind of fears and traumas you might have, because the nervous system would be so fired up because you feel as if you're not going to be doing whatever you're doing that is causing it, that you might not be accepted anymore, that they might kick you out of work, that you're going to disappoint someone, things like that. Fear that might lead to like basic fears of survival and having enough money for your family and things like that. Because as children, we are dependent on other people. So we learn how to act in a way where we are accepted. We learn how to not cause too much stress so that we get food, that we get warmth, that we get love in some way, which might not be real love, but it's still some kind of thing we associate with it. And that can stay, and that can cause stress in your system. So it's important to balance that out in daily life, to have any kind of practice, routine, anything that will take you away from those very high nervous system activation into deep relaxation. And that can be through meditation, through yoga, through quieting out the system, through going out into nature, through doing any kind of activity that will help you regulate your nervous system. And that might be hard. that might be hard, because if you're, for example, going for a walk, your brain might still be, running around in crazy cycles and thinking about work or thinking about any worries you have. And then at that moment, it's about creating that what you need, taking care of yourself in that way which is necessary for you to be able to let all of that go, to create a space where you can let all those worries go, all that stress go, and you can then fully relax. And that might look like taking someone and asking someone for help. It might look like going and booking massages for some point, or going to a place where you have no work, where you have no choice but to do things like, for example, Vipassana, where you have like this schedule thing and you have no choice but to concentrate on yourself and to do meditation. So it's things like that that can help balance it out. But you have to at some point learn how to integrate that into your daily life without needing this huge thing around it, without needing to create this very big thing for you to balance it out. It should just become a part of daily life where you can just breathe and let all of those worries, all of those thoughts flow away, and then your body can fully relax. And I have this deep relaxation exercise as a free meditation that you can hear and listen to, and it's a very long one, and it's that long because for people who don't know and our beginners, it's important to have like a longer guided practice. But if you know what you're doing, you can basically just sit or lie down and let everything drop away. It's as if you're just sinking into the floor, letting every single muscle relax and just letting go. And that is so good for your nervous system, for your whole body, because going through your life, you hold so much tension unconsciously in your body, in your jaw. You maybe even squeezing your teeth just unconsciously without even knowing, or your back tensing because you have a bad posture and you don't know how to fix that. And you can compensate that and heal that by doing deep relaxation, because you're creating a space for yourself where you can suddenly let go and surrender and really relax. So you just wanna find a spot where you can do that. Find a spot where nobody will come in and ask you about things, where like no external impulses will destroy the process. And then just drop deeper, focusing on your breathing, on the in and exhale, letting go, dropping deep into the body, allowing everything to sink deeper, and basically allowing everything to flow away. You want to just focus on dropping, sinking into the floor. Sinking into the earth is a good image. Becoming heavy is a good image. And just kind of dropping everything. Any kind of thing you have went through for your day, any thoughts you might be having, any worries, and just coming into your body, feeling your body. And that is one way to go about it, deep relaxation. And another way to go might be, for example, by really touching your body and noticing, okay, I'm here. Let us take care of this body. Let us, for example, massage ourselves a bit. Let us oil our body or take care of our hair, doing like very physical things connected with touch, because they will help us to focus on touch and on this kind of body experience, other than on all of that what is going on in our mind and emotionally. And we need those moments to really be able to handle what comes into our life. We need to be connected to our body. We need to have those moments where we just fully relax and surrender to our own body and to our own being to be able to expand more. So if you really want to go further and further on the spiritual path, on the path of self-growth, on becoming more successful, it can be also, in this businessman kind of a world, then you want to know how to reach those deep states of trust in yourself, of relaxation, of not having this constant hamster cycle, and just dropping. Because through doing that, you will give yourself the possibility to drop deeper and to reach even higher, better states, more success, more high-end state of consciousness, things like that. Because the universe is all about balancing out that energy. So the more you go down there into relaxation, into connection with your body, into groundedness, into alignment, into connection, the higher states you can reach. Because you are basically giving your being enough trust in this physical form to expand more. You know, for example, an easy way to show you what I mean is crying, you know, tears of joy, positive kind of crying. Why do we do it? We do it because we are not able to handle the amount of happiness that is coming into our body. So we release it through tears. And there is a way to expand and be able to handle more of that. And it's basically about allowing yourself to expand, allowing yourself to become bigger, widening up your whole field of experiences, and allowing yourself to trust yourself even fully, even more and more, and surrendering to that feeling, to the thing that comes, trusting that process and not trying to control or block it. So just allowing those tears and all of that happiness to fill your whole body up, not just your heart and then exploding it through your eyes through tears, but letting it basically fill your whole body up, every inch of your body filling up with that feeling that you feel that you cannot control, and then letting it just expand through your whole body, through all those cells, becoming bigger, fuller of happiness. And that's just an example of how you can widen up your spectrum. And that can be beautiful, and you can do that with many different things. You know, probably heard about the Kundalini energy and how that works with the polarities merging into one and connecting to God, and how you have those two snakes coiling around your spine, and all of those different metaphors that there are to place that, you know, those energy channels. And it's all about reconnecting to the source, to God, to that what you actually are. And on that path of the Kundalini, which I basically also say it's like the force in you, it can happen that your body suddenly starts to do a lot of shaking. And it, you know, it's like this freeze, flight or fight reflex that there is naturally. And this kind of shaking you can also see in animals when they go into the freeze state. When the animals go into the freeze state and it looks like, you know, everything is tensing up, and then to let go of that freeze, they start to shake. So you're basically going from stone to water, to having this current flow for you. And this shaking happens also a lot in Kundalini practices, because you're suddenly allowing this force to work for you, and it's shaking away all of any blockages that you might have. It's shaking away any stuckness, the traumas and things like that, and it's transforming your being. So it's a beautiful process, and this is all about like this basic instinct that we all have. It's a basic part of life, you know, just reconnecting to that what we truly are. That is one of the main goals, to remember what we are, to go and follow our path that we have came here to do, our purpose. And this alignment that we have can only be possible if we have mastered our basic needs, when we have mastered our everyday life, because we will only get bigger tasks, bigger goals, bigger things, bigger possibilities if we are able to manage them, if we are able to handle them. And through expanding and doing all of this physical thing, it will become easier for you to manage all of that. It will become easier for you to hold it because you are getting more and more strong in your personality. You are becoming more aligned in your personality. You are listening already to the signs of your body, and then you're also going to be able to listen to the signs of the soul speaking through you. So everything will just become a lot easier. And then it can all align and reconnect, and you're suddenly open and able to do so much more. And talking more about this freeze, flight, or fight kind of instinct that comes in when we are in situations where there is just so much stress and any kind of fear coming up, any danger to our life. This is also something that just happens naturally. And the way you react is just going to be a pattern that might have been happening already for a long time. So you can think back and think about how you reacted when someone was shouting at you, for example. How did you react? Did you freeze and felt like everything is stuck, you cannot talk anymore? Did you just kind of run away, leave the room, say, okay, I'm not gonna be doing this, bye, whatever? Or did you start arguing back? What were your reactions? This is like your instinct showing you the way you handle things. And all of these reactions, arguing, running away, freezing, not being able to talk, not going into like a healthy kind of conversation, but being triggered in any way, is just a sign for you that you still have something there to learn. You can learn how to create a safer space for yourself, how to trust yourself, and really let go of all of those fears making you act this way automatically, and just going consciously into this connection. You know, you can have the other person shout at you, but you can still talk to them in a normal voice without getting triggered. You can, see what is happening, talk with them normally, and, go into that in a different way. And it's the difference between acting something out automatically and being actually conscious of what you are doing. Because only when you are conscious of what you are doing, you are able to make a choice. And it's important to reach that step where you are actually able to make choices and are not just acting out of automatismos. And this automatismos can look like just eating automatically because, you always eat breakfast. So you're just gonna eat whatever you eat for breakfast. Or if someone comes to you and, your normal way to greet them is a hug. So you're gonna always be hugging the people, because that is the thing you do automatically, because that's the thing you have learned, that's the thing that is just programmed into you. And it can be any way you handle life, basically any reaction you have, any habit you have, any way of reacting unconsciously. It can be about, an example, if you're feeling shy, your automatic reaction might be playing with your hair. And just kind of like, that's your way to cope with it. Or if you're feeling nervous, you might have like a coping mechanism about playing with your fingers. Or you might have some kind of thing how your face reacts, like lifting like one corner of the lip, like And you might even not know you are doing this. It's just the body automatically responding to something that is happening. And you want to become conscious of those things. So you basically want to learn how to observe yourself as if you were on the outside. And doing this kind of thing that I'm doing right now is amazing for that, because I see myself and I know and I realize what I'm doing when I'm talking about different things. And there might be things that I'm talking about which still trigger me, and then I see, okay, how is my face doing when I'm doing that? What is my face showing me that I'm doing? And those are moments where you can just observe yourself, become conscious, and realize how you're reacting to things. Because if you still feel, it's all right, I'm not triggered anymore by that topic, I have worked through that, and it's all good. It might feel like it's good, you might think it's good, but your body might still react to that. And it might be unconsciously. It might be through your eyes twitching or like a shake in your head, which you don't even realize you are doing. And through observing yourself, you will know. you will see, oh, that's still something I have to work for. My body is doing this and I don't even know it's doing it. And then suddenly you can just know more about yourself. You can observe yourself, and then you can be, okay, let us make a choice if we want to continue doing this, or if we want to work through it even more. And then at one point you will just reach that state of being what I like to call a blank canvas, where you are just like, you don't have any kind of programming there anymore from the childhood that you don't want. And that would be like the perfect state to reach, which is not very much possible, but it would be like the optimum. And you don't have any kind of automatic reactions. You are just conscious about everything that you do. You can observe yourself in every moment. You know what is going on. You are not triggered anymore. You are in this alignment with yourself, and your body does the things that you want it to do out of a choice, not out of an unconscious habit, not out of a reaction to a stressful thing, but just out of consciousness and choice. And that, when you reach that state, everything becomes a choice, everything becomes possible, because there is nothing to which you just react. You just choose and you do. It's like a totally different way of being in everyday life. It's about being active, being responsible, taking responsibility for every single thing in your life. And that's just a beautiful space to reach. Okay, I want to talk a bit more at, for example, breath work, because it's a beautiful thing that you can use to help you in your process. And breathwork is all about changing the amount of CO2 and oxygen, carbon, I don't know the English word, sorry, like either you have oxygen or you have CO2, carbon dioxide and oxygen. So you're just changing those levels, and through that your body comes into altered states. And this is one way to go about it. Your body can go into altered states through psychedelics, through sports where you suddenly have more hormones coming up. It can go into altered states through many different things. Deep relaxation, it can also be one of them. Sleep is the most natural thing that happens. And all of those things just influence our nervous system. They influence how the hormones are being produced and how much of them. And they just influence the kind of balance and or imbalance, like the normal way our body is made up in everyday life. And if that get influenced, then it basically influences all of the other things in us. If the body changes, then the emotions change, the mind changes, everything changes. Because suddenly you're experiencing something else. There is a new body sensation. That way, working through the body can be just so powerful, because it can also reach the emotions and the mind. And breathwork is one of those things which is just beautiful, because if you know how to really surrender to yourself, how to trust that process, it can lead you into states of deep ecstasy and happiness and just, buddhi. And it can put you into states of working with your trauma, with your emotions. And that's one way of using the body to reach those states. And that can be transforming for your whole life. Or doing, sexuality, which is also very much about the body, can also be very transforming for your whole system. Because suddenly with sexuality, especially like sacred sexuality, sacred union, about really noticing those godlike states in that, about those two polarities, man and woman connecting together through sex and becoming one, uniting. and just having orgasms, having multiple orgasms, going into those higher states of consciousness, or even having just basic sex, just having normal orgasms if you're even able to reach them. And everyone is able to reach orgasms and those kind of states of higher being. But it's just about the amount of inner work you have already done, how much you are able to connect with your body, how much you are able to really work through your topics. And with that, you can also, through the body, reach states which suddenly expand your whole being, and your whole perspective can change. If you reach states, orgasms, which are very powerful, you might suddenly just realize there is more to life. And that can be through anything. It can be even through a simple hobby, like feeling the exhilaration and the love and the amazement, the beauty when going out skiing and just feeling the speed and loving it. It can be just opening up new horizons, opening up your whole brain, your whole emotions, and just filling you up through the body. So the body can just be such a powerful tool. And it's important for the whole body to be able to come alive. Like this breathing through the pore exercise, inhaling the sun. You are going to be able to do that more if you are present about the body, if you can actually feel your body. And a lot of people are not able to feel the body because they have certain numbness, because they have just so much pain that they want to ignore, that they cut it off. And then it's harder to reach those states. It's harder to find happiness in your body. It's harder to really experience all the beauty of it because we don't want to feel something. So we have to learn how to feel all of those bad things. We have to learn how to face the numbness, how to face the pain, and transform it and integrate it. And that can be any kind of numbness. Just like when I was talking about those orgasms, some people, some women are not able to reach them because they have still some topics around the sacral chakra, and where there's just numbness there because maybe they are not speaking up enough about their desires, because they are having sex with people they don't want to actually have sex with, because they are overstepping their boundaries to just feel nice, and because it's something you do, because you are so long already in this relationship with someone that it's, just normal to have sex every day or once a week or whatever, and where you just do it out of habit, and it's actually not causing you good. So your vagina can basically just become numb because you're ignoring it. You're ignoring your own wants and needs, and just ignoring yourself, not being true to yourself. So your body will numb it up to make that experience more possible, less painful. And those are like very powerful things that can happen. Like the whole vagina can, for example, close up and become very tight if you're doing something you don't actually want to do. Your will, for example, become more dry, and it can be very hard for you to become wet because you are not listening to what your body actually wants. And with that, you just have to realize you are going against yourself. And it's not because of your partner. You have to really much take responsibility for what you are doing. Take responsibility that you are going against yourself, that you are maybe lying to yourself, that you are lying to your partner, that you are just not doing the thing you want to do. And that can be in anything. It's not just sexuality. It can be sport. It can be any kind of hobby you have out of habit. Just kind of those things you are doing without wanting to do them. And that can have a negative impact on your body. And that's just, those basics habits. And when we talk about addictions and drugs and alcohol and porn and all of that, that also leaves a negative imprint in your body. Because all of that has a certain energy, and that energy you are just putting into your system, because everything you see, everything you hear, it will stay unless you process it and let it out again. And even though you are not able to access a lot of memories, it's still there. It's influencing you unconsciously. So there is just so much more to the body and the way it works if we truly learn how to listen it. If we truly learn, for example, how to access unconscious parts of ourselves, that can also help very much in our process. It can be, for example, through like shamanic journeys or journaling, and just trusting your intuition and writing down whatever comes up, or sitting in stillness and asking your body, why is there this pain there? Like, show me the reason for this pain. And just really much going in and trusting what comes up. Those are ways where you can connect to the unconscious parts of yourself, and they can just make you realize so many things. So that was just some overview of how some different things might work. I'm gonna have a look at my notes. Okay, I'm gonna talk a bit more also about letting go, because it's hard. I've talked about this already, about the nervous system being so fired up and about those deep relaxation spaces. And it's also about just letting go and surrendering and trusting, because you want to, through your body, be able to reconnect to those higher spaces, to your soul, to your spirit, to God, like I basically said already. And that is connected a lot to being able to let go, to being able to connect to yourself and let go of past experiences, let go of memories, letting go of partners you have had in the past, letting go of friends that might not be aligned with you again. And that can be a hard process, especially at the beginning, especially if you are not that accustomed to so much change, because some people have like a very stable life, right? They are born in the town, then they worked in that town, and they stay in that town, maybe in the same house or in the same neighborhood for most of their life. And then suddenly something happens, like maybe an accident, or the job changing and firing, or maybe breaking up with a marriage or something like that. And suddenly the whole life gets turned upside down, and you have to learn how to let go. And if you don't know how to do that, then it's going to be something very stressful and new for your system. And that's like one extreme. The other extreme is like, for me, I'm a good example of the other extreme, and this extreme is about not having this kind of stability. I moved around all the time already as a kid. I don't even know. I like at least every other year I would be living in a different place. And there would be just so much change in my life constantly. New friends, new place, new school, new hobbies, new job, new thing, that there would just be no stability. And my system would just become so accustomed to letting go all the time that it would actually create also a numbness, because you don't want to get hurt if you're letting go so much. If you have to say goodbye all the time to those good friends because you are moving away, you're gonna cut something off from yourself because you don't want to get hurt, because you are feeling sadness because you have to go away. So I had to also work through all of that. I learned that even though I'm going away, it doesn't mean that I have to say goodbye to my good friends, that I still can stay connected to them. And those are like two extremes that are possible. And just showing you the way that letting go can work. And it can also be very physical, like this deep relaxation about letting go of all the muscle tension, letting go, for example, of all the thoughts and emptying your brain, quieting down the brain, and things like that. Those are all about letting go and going fully into your emotions and letting them go again. So those kind of things that are powerful, even though they might seem small. And there is another thing I want to tell you about, which is just a very nice add-on for the end. And it's about a very interesting practice called physiognomy. I don't think it's very known about. It's something that is kept quite secret, and there are not many books and things where you can find it. And it's about the body and the face and how everything we experience and feel and just the person that we are, how it shows in the way we look. And there's already a lot of knowledge, and it's becoming more common knowledge about how different emotions and beliefs and traumas reflect in the body through pain, through diseases, like how the somatics of that work. There's already a lot of work about that and a lot of knowledge. And this is just like also pretty the same, but it's basically about the way we look. So it can be like about the height of the forehead, how big it is, and just it being a reflection about how intellectual that person is, or about how the two sides of the face, how they look like, and if that person is really aligned and balanced in those two parts. And the one part being like the intellectual masculine part, and the other part being that feminine, emotional, creative part. So like the left and right brain sides, or the left and right body parts. So your whole personality, your whole being is basically being reflected in your body. And if you know this kind of secret knowledge, then you can basically read people very quickly when looking at the body. For example, also like the amount of fat you have somewhere. And it can be just also simple things. If women have like a very flat chest, it can show that they have a topic with femininity and they don't actually feel feminine. Or if someone is like has a very like the mouth is just so down, then it can be like they are not enjoying life and things like that. So the face and everything will just show you a lot. And it can be connected to those pain and diseases and why that comes up, or it can just be connected to just the way someone is generally. And that can change through life, you know. If you have like some disproportion for your masculine and feminine side, and for example one eyebrow is so much lower than the other because there is the disproportion, that can change when you work on your topics. If you work more with all the different things, then those can become aligned on one level again and becoming symmetrical. So it's all about doing inner work and just becoming more aligned with yourself. Then your whole appearance can change. I know people whose hair color has changed from blonde to brown, and from straight to like a curlyish thing. And I know people whose eye color has changed. So it's things like that where suddenly like the whole appearance changes because they are suddenly becoming a new person. And you know, that can happen to you. So basically, through doing inner work, you can change your whole life, your whole body, and just basically influence your happiness and your life and everything. And there are even higher states you can reach. Like the possibilities of this body in this world, of our personality, of our humanity are basically endless. And there's this whole thing about how there is so much more to the DNA, and there's just so much hidden possibilities there. And you know, it's true, there is so much more that we are able to do that we don't even know. And for example, psychic abilities are just like the basic of what is possible. So if you really learn and become aligned with yourself, you can do so much more. And this, for example, contactless martial arts is already showing you a lot about what can be possible through the body, with the energetics of it, with the force in you. But there is just so much more about all the different possibilities, because you can learn how to work with the physical form and with the energetics and with the different proportions, not proportions, what do I mean? I mean, like, with the different qualities that they have, with the quality of what solids and fluids and, you know, the air element and all of those different things. And you learn how to just work with all of those different energies. But that's like a very high up knowledge. So it was just like a pre-teaser for you to know there is just so much more. It might give you motivation to look deeper, to do some research, to do more inner work. And yeah, just stay connected to your body, listen to the signs, listen to the intuition coming in, to becoming more conscious of all the different things you are doing, and just enjoy it. Enjoy life. Enjoy this inner work process.